Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today we're looking at a podcast series promo script, Mind Matters.
Interesting. What's the premise?
It's all about using gamification to teach people about mental health.
Oh, wow, that's a cool concept. Gamification is everywhere these days. But using it for mental health, that's innovative. What's the thinking behind it?
Well, I think we can all relate to the power of games. I mean, think about it. When you get sucked into a game, what keeps you going?
For me, it's that feeling of progression, like I'm getting better at something, achieving goals.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the same principles Mind Matters wants to apply to personal growth. But instead of beating a level, you're like managing your stress better or building stronger relationships.
Sneaking in those mental health veggies, but making them taste like a video game. I like it.
Right. And the company behind it, B-Spatial, they're all about mental health technology. They've structured the series in a way that really intrigued me.
How so?
They've split it up into 4 age groups, 12 to 14, 15 to 18, 18 to 21, and 24 to 28. Each group gets content tailored to, what they're going through at that stage of life.
Yeah, makes sense. A 15-year-old is dealing with totally different stuff than a 25-year-old. Recognizing that is key.
Totally. And they've really thought about specific issues. Like for the 15 to 18 group, there's this challenge about dealing with academic pressure and social media.
Oof, yeah. Those were rough waters to navigate back in the day. Still are for a lot of teens.
No kidding. And the series jumps right into that. It talks about managing stress from all that, setting healthy boundaries with tech, and, like building your sense of self when everyone's comparing themselves online.
Some serious life skills right there. So how does the whole gamification thing actually work?
Oh, they go all out. Challenges, points, badges, even in-app rewards. They're like, here's your mental health, but make it fun.
Clever. It's playing right into how our brains are wired, right? Like, we get a dopamine hit from earning points and badges, so we want more.
Exactly. It's like hacking our brains to learn about mental health. Imagine someone who's always struggled with meditation, suddenly they're hooked because they're earning points for completing a challenge.
That's a powerful image. It's taking those intrinsic motivators and turning them towards positive change. But it's not just about the fun, right? The gamification is supposed to lead to real, lasting changes.
Right. Like even completing a small challenge, it can boost your self-efficacy, that belief in your own ability to succeed.
It's not just checking a box, it's building confidence. I like that.
Yeah. Another thing that blew my mind was the data aspect. They're using anonymized user data to try and identify regional mental health trends.
Whoa, hold on. So it's like taking the pulse of a community's mental well-being.
Yeah.
That's ambitious. How does that even work?
So as users are doing these challenges and tracking their progress, it all feeds into this pool of anonymous data. No identifying details, just trends and patterns.
Okay, so they might see, for example, that in one city, anxiety is spiking among young adults, or that in another area, workplace stress is off the charts.
Exactly. And then organizations and policymakers could use that data to, create more targeted interventions, like offer specific mental health services or resources where they're most needed.
Instead of relying on guesswork, they're working with real-time data
Yeah.
specific to their community. That's smart. It's like creating a custom-fit mental health safety net for each region. But how does this actually play out for each age group? Like, what kind of content are we talking about?
Well, they start with the youngest group, the 12 to 14-year-olds. Think about it. Puberty, social dynamics going crazy, and school pressure ramping up.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot to handle at that age. It's like navigating a minefield, blindfolded. No wonder so many kids feel overwhelmed and misunderstood.
Seriously. And that's where Mind Matters comes in. It teaches them those essential skills like, understanding their emotions, building healthy friendships, managing stress. The basics.
Give them a vocabulary for their inner world. Instead of just feeling bad, they can say, hey, I'm feeling frustrated, or this is making me anxious.
Right. And being able to name it is the first step to managing it, right?
Absolutely. There's also a focus on building healthy friendships. Remember how tricky that was at that age? It's like a constant game of social chess, trying to figure out the rules and avoid making the wrong move.
I was terrible at that game.
Well, the series helps them navigate those social situations. Like, it teaches them about active listening, assertive communication, and how to resolve conflicts peacefully. But of course, they make it fun and engaging so it actually resonates with them.
Social superheroes in training. I love it. But they don't shy away from the academic pressure either.
Yeah, middle school can be a pressure cooker these days. All that homework, tests, and kind of pressure to succeed.
And all that pressure can really mess with their well-being, their sleep, their mood, their relationships, everything. So what does Mind Matters offer for that?
It gives them practical tools to manage the stress, improve their study habits, and set realistic goals. It's not about pushing them to study harder. It's about teaching them to work smarter and feel more in control.
They're becoming the CEOs of their own learning. I love that.
Mm.
So middle school is covered. What about high school, the 15 to 18 group? That's a whole other level of intensity.
Right. High school is like high stakes, more complex challenges, the social scene, the pressure to get into college, and then there's social media.
Ugh, don't even get me started on social media. It's a double-edged sword, right? It can connect you, but also isolate you. All those images, opinions, expectations. It can be tough to figure out who you are in all of that.
It's like trying to find your own voice in a crowded stadium.
Exactly. So how does Mind Matters help them navigate that?
Well, there are three big things they focus on: identity, academic pressure, and finding that balance between personal growth and social media.
I'm really liking that identity piece. It's about helping teens figure out their own values, their beliefs, their interests,
Yeah, encouraging them to define themselves on their own terms.
create their own internal compass. Love it. But the academic pressure doesn't go away, does it?
Nope. The stakes just get higher, the competition fiercer, and the pressure to get into a good college can be overwhelming.
So they continue building on those stress management skills, goal setting, all of that.
Yep. It's like saying, hey, your mental health matters just as much as your GPA. And of course, they tackle the social media piece head on.
That's a big one. It's such a huge part of their lives, but it can be so addictive, create so much anxiety, all the comparing yourself to others.
Right. So they talk about setting boundaries with social media, recognizing the signs of addiction, even taking digital detoxes.
It's teaching them to be mindful users, not mindless consumers. So they can harness the power of social media without letting it control them. Okay, so we've covered the 12 to 14-year-olds and the 15 to 18-year-olds. Now we're getting to the 18 to 21-year-olds. They're on the verge of adulthood, facing a whole new set of challenges and transitions. It's a lot to handle.
It really is. This is a period of huge change and uncertainty. Graduating high school, starting college, or entering the workforce, navigating independence. It's daunting.
It's like stepping off the diving board into the deep end of life.
And sometimes the water feels pretty choppy. One of the biggest challenges this age group faces is imposter syndrome.
Oh, imposter syndrome. That feeling that you're not good enough, that you don't belong. I know that feeling all too well.
It's like having this inner critic constantly whispering doubts and fears in your ear.
Ugh, tell me about it.
Well, Mind Matters addresses this head on, providing tools to challenge those negative thoughts, recognize their accomplishments, and build self-confidence.
So they're learning to quiet that inner critic and become their own biggest cheerleader. I like that.
Exactly. But it's not just about feeling good about themselves. This age group is trying to figure out their place in the world, personally and professionally.
Oh, yeah. They're setting big life goals, exploring careers, making decisions that could impact their future.
And that can be incredibly overwhelming, especially when they're bombarded with all these messages about what they should be doing or who they should be.
So how does Mind Matters help with that?
They provide a framework for navigating this uncertainty. They encourage listeners to define their own values, explore different options, and set goals that align with their passions and aspirations.
It's like giving them a map and a compass to explore this uncharted territory. And I love that they emphasize setting SMART goals.
Me too. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's about turning those vague aspirations into a concrete plan.
Right. It's not just about dreaming big. It's about taking action. And the gamification can really help with that.
Absolutely. Imagine a challenge where they break down a long-term goal into smaller, more manageable steps, or create a vision board for their future.
It makes the whole process more fun and engaging and helps them build momentum. Okay, so we've talked about the 12 to 14-year-olds, the 15 to 18-year-olds, and the 18 to 21-year-olds. Now let's move on to the final age group. The 24 to 28-year-olds, they're really starting to adult now. College is over, careers are launching, relationships are evolving, some might even be starting families.
Right. It's a time of new beginnings, but also a whole new set of challenges. It's like they've moved from the deep end of the pool to the open ocean.
Ooh, good analogy.
Right. They're navigating uncharted waters, and the currents can be unpredictable.
So what kind of things does Mind Matters focus on for this group?
Well, career advancement is a big one. They're moving up the ladder, taking on more responsibility, maybe even stepping into leadership roles.
And that's a lot of pressure,
Yeah,
especially in today's work environment.
absolutely. It's like they're expected to be expert sailors without ever having formal training on how to navigate these choppy waters. So Mind Matters equips them with the tools to handle the complexities of the workplace.
Give them a life vest. What kind of tools are we talking about?
Things like effective communication, conflict resolution, setting boundaries, even recognizing and addressing microaggressions. It's like giving them a decoder ring to decipher the unspoken language of the workplace.
I love that. But it's not all about the office, right? This age group is also navigating the complexities of adult relationships, both romantic and platonic.
Exactly. Mind Matters dives into that, helping them learn how to build and maintain healthy relationships. They talk about communication, setting boundaries, resolving conflicts, and just making time for connection and intimacy.
Building a strong support network, that's so important, both personally and professionally.
It really is. And it's also about learning to prioritize their own well-being amidst all these demands. Burnout is a real risk for this group.
Oh, for sure. They're trying to do it all. Climb the career ladder, build a family, maintain a social life. It's a lot.
And Mind Matters emphasizes the importance of finding a sustainable pace, setting boundaries, and making time for self-care. It's about defining your own version of success, one that includes both achievement and fulfillment.
So it's not just about checking off boxes. It's about living a meaningful and balanced life.
I like that. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, going through all 4 age groups and the challenges they face. It's amazing how Mind Matters has managed to tailor the content to each stage of life.
It's really impressive. They've created a mental health resource that's comprehensive and personalized. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I think it's worth circling back to the gamification piece. We've talked about it a bit, but let's dig a little deeper into how it actually works and why it's so effective.
Yes, let's break it down. What are some of the specific game mechanics that Mind Matters uses?
Well, the first and most obvious is the element of challenges. Each episode comes with a set of interactive challenges you can complete on the B-Spatial platform. So, if an episode is about stress management, the challenges might involve practicing mindfulness techniques, creating a self-care plan, or identifying and challenging negative thoughts.
Exactly. And as you complete these challenges, you earn points. It's the currency of the game.
Ah, points. Everyone loves points.
Right. And Mind Matters has clearly done their homework. They've structured the point system to maximize engagement and learning. It's not just about earning points for completing a task. There are streaks, bonuses, even a bit of friendly competition.
It's like they're tapping into our primal instincts for reward and competition.
They are. And it works.
Right.
Then there are the badges.
Yeah.
You earn those for hitting milestones or achieving specific goals.
Badges are a brilliant way to tap into our desire for recognition and accomplishment. It's a little virtual pat on the back. Feels good.
Right. And they're more than just a source of pride. Badges serve as visual reminders of your progress, which encourages you to keep going.
Like a virtual trophy case, showcasing all the hard work you've put into your mental well-being. But it's not all about individual achievement, right? There's a social aspect to the platform as well.
You got it. They encourage users to connect, share experiences, and support each other on their mental health journeys.
It's like a virtual support group, but with gamification layered on top. That's powerful.
It is. By combining those two, gamification and community, they've created a supportive and engaging learning environment.
So we've got challenges, points, badges, and the social aspect. Anything else about how gamification works in this context?
One more crucial thing. Personalization. Mind Matters isn't a one-size-fits-all program.
So it's like having a mental health coach who's constantly learning and adapting to your needs.
Exactly. They use data to tailor the experience to each individual user. By tracking your progress, preferences, even mood fluctuations, the platform can recommend challenges and content that's most relevant to you.
That's so cool. It's like having a mental health GPS guiding you toward the resources and support you need to reach your goals.
You got it. And that level of personalization is what sets this series apart. It's not about learning about mental health in a general sense. It's about creating a customized roadmap for each person's journey towards well-being.
And we're back, diving deeper into Mind Matters, this podcast series that's gamifying mental health education.
It's really turning the idea of learning about mental health on its head, right? Making it fun, engaging.
Totally. But one of the things that really stood out to me was how it's not just about individual growth. It's got this whole regional impact thing going on, too.
Oh, right. They're using data to understand a community's mental health as a whole, almost like they're creating a mental health map of an area. ambitious.
I know. So imagine thousands of people in a city are using Mind Matters. They're doing challenges, tracking their progress.
And all that data, anonymized of course, is being collected. No personal details, just trends and patterns.
Right. So instead of just guessing or going off anecdotes, organizations and policymakers would have this like real-time data about the mental health needs of their community.
That's powerful. They could see, for instance, that anxiety is spiking among young adults in a certain neighborhood, or that workplace stress is through the roof in another area. Then they could actually do something about it.
Exactly. Targeted interventions like offer free mental health services in those areas or create programs specifically for those needs.
Instead of just waiting for people to hit a crisis point, they're identifying problems early and stepping in before things escalate.
It's like a more proactive, targeted mental health safety net. And it goes beyond just addressing specific concerns, right? This data could inform bigger policy decisions too.
Oh, absolutely. Like, say the data shows a link between long work hours and increased stress levels. Policymakers could look at implementing policies that promote better work-life balance.
So it's not just treating the symptoms, it's getting at the root causes. This regional data is a game changer. It's giving us this deeper understanding of what impacts our well-being.
It's moving away from crisis management and towards prevention.
I love that. But zooming out even further, I think using gamification for mental health has the potential to reach a whole new audience, especially younger generations who are already so into tech and gaming.
Oh, without a doubt. Think about it the traditional ways we teach about mental health. Lectures, pamphlets.
Not exactly riveting stuff.
Right. It often falls flat, especially with younger people. But gamification, it speaks their language. It's fun, challenging. It taps into their natural curiosity.
And it makes learning about these things, less intimidating.
Exactly. We can break down the stigma around mental health and make it way more accessible, especially to those who might otherwise avoid the topic.
It's like sneaking in those mental health veggies but disguising them as a video game. But it's not just about making it more appealing, right? Studies show gamification actually helps people learn and retain information better.
That's right. When we're engaged in a game, we're more likely to pay attention, remember what we've learned, and even use it in real life.
It's not just head knowledge, it's about putting it into practice. And that's what I like about Mind Matters. It's not just concepts, it's giving you actionable tools and strategies you can use every day.
Right. The gamified elements are key to that. Challenges, feedback, rewards. They all create this framework for making real, lasting changes.
Okay, so we've talked about the regional impact, the broader implications of gamification. Now I'm curious about the specifics of the B-Spatial platform itself. The promo mentioned mood tracking, journaling prompts, personalized feedback. What's all that about?
Oh, there's a lot packed in there. Mood tracking, for example, lets users keep tabs on their emotional state over time. Super helpful for understanding their own patterns and triggers.
Like a journal for your emotions, but with data analysis. You can see the ups and downs and maybe start to notice trends you wouldn't have caught otherwise.
Exactly. And once you see those patterns, you can start to develop coping strategies. Like if you notice you get super anxious on Sundays, maybe you build some relaxation techniques into your Sunday routine.
It's like giving yourself a heads up so you're ready to handle those tricky emotions. What about the journaling prompts? What are those like?
They're designed to get you thinking, to help you process your emotions and understand yourself better. There are prompts about gratitude, self-care, relationships.
Even just prompts to help you reflect on the good things in your day.
Yeah, things like that. It's like having a little virtual therapist in your pocket, gently guiding you towards self-discovery. And the best part, it's all private, a safe space to process your thoughts and feelings.
I like that. Journaling can be so powerful. And what about the personalized feedback? How does that work?
Well, as you're using the platform, doing challenges, tracking your mood, responding to prompts, all that data is being used to give you personalized insights and recommendations.
So it's not just data collection for the sake of it, it's using that data to help users grow.
Exactly. It's like having a personal mental health coach who's constantly learning about you and adapting to your needs. And as more people use the platform, the algorithms get even better, providing more targeted support.
It's like this self-improving mental health ecosystem constantly evolving. Pretty cool. But it's important to remember technology is a tool. It's not a replacement for human connection or professional support.
Oh, absolutely. If you're struggling with a serious mental health condition, please reach out to a qualified professional.
Couldn't agree more. But for those who are just looking for extra support, guidance, motivation on their mental health journey, a platform like this could be a game changer.
It's about empowering people to take charge of their well-being and giving them the tools they need to thrive. And that's exciting.
It is. Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I think it's important to acknowledge that gamification, as cool as it is, it's not a magic solution.
Right. It's not going to solve all our mental health challenges overnight. It's a tool, and like any tool, it needs to be used carefully and strategically.
We can't oversimplify these complex issues or treat mental health like just another game to win.
Exactly. And we need to be aware of potential downsides. Some people might get too fixated on the points or badges, losing sight of the bigger picture of well-being.
It's like playing a video game and getting so obsessed with collecting coins that you forget to actually enjoy the game itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's always the risk that some people might feel pressure to perform well, which could actually make their anxiety worse.
So the design of these platforms has to be very mindful of that, putting user well-being first.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance between the fun, engaging aspects of gamification and the serious nature of mental health.
We don't want to trivialize mental health or create unrealistic expectations.
Right. And it's crucial to remember, gamification is just one piece of the puzzle. It's not a replacement for therapy, medication, or other treatments.
It's a tool that can work alongside those things to help people be more proactive about their mental health.
Exactly. It's about empowering individuals, and that's what's so powerful about this approach. So with all that said, where do you see this going? How could Mind Matters evolve in the future?
That's a great question. One area with huge potential is personalized learning. As the platform gathers more data, it can get even better at tailoring recommendations and support.
It's like having a mental health GPS that's constantly rerouting based on where you are and where you want to go. And as technology keeps advancing, who knows what we'll be able to do.
I know, right? Imagine virtual reality experiences to practice coping skills or augmented reality for mindfulness exercises. The possibilities are mind-blowing.
I think we're just scratching the surface of what technology can do for mental well-being.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Mind Matters. We've been talking about how they're using gamification to make mental health education more engaging and accessible. But like with anything new, there are always challenges, right?
For sure. We talked about some potential downsides, like getting too focused on the points or feeling pressure to perform. What else should Mind Matters be thinking about as they build this thing?
Yeah, like how do they make sure it actually works long term?
Sustainability is a big one. Building and maintaining a platform like this takes serious resources, money, expertise. They need a solid plan to keep it going, to keep it evolving.
It's like building a park, right? You can't just build it and walk away. You got to keep it up, make sure it thrives.
Exactly. And it's not just about money. They need to keep up with the latest research, the best practices in mental health care. Things are always changing, so they have to be constantly learning and adapting.
So it's not set it and forget it. It's this ongoing process of evaluating, adapting, improving.
Right. And it takes a dedicated team, people who are passionate about mental health and using technology to make a difference.
Sounds like Mind Matters has their work cut out for them. But they seem to have put a lot of thought into this, so I'm optimistic.
Me too. And it's important to remember, this is just one example of what's happening in mental health tech right now. There are so many people out there creating amazing tools and resources.
It's an exciting time to be in this space. I think it shows how much our understanding of mental health is changing.
Absolutely. It's not this taboo subject anymore. People are more open about it, more willing to seek help.
That's a huge step forward. All right, as we wrap up our deep dive into Mind Matters, I want to leave our listeners with a question to think about.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Imagine you could design your own mental health game. What would it look like? What features would it have? How would it help you achieve your goals?
Wow, that's a great question. It makes you think outside the box, right? How can we use technology to support our own well-being?
Exactly. It's a reminder that we're all on this journey of growth, and there are so many paths we can take.
And so many tools to help us along the way.
So keep exploring, keep experimenting, keep leveling up your mental health. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, take care of yourselves. And remember, even small steps can lead to big changes.